Guys, I'm pretty sure this is the most fun I've ever had as a Titan in Destiny 2. Alright guys, let's look at the build. Now, you're probably very surprised to see how many melee charges we got off there. Now, that was about 3 charges in roughly about 20-25 seconds. Now, I know we were using the Monte Carlo, and you can probably see there's a different weapon there. But I did find in the higher level activities that if you lose the exotic slot for a power weapon, or even energy, you just lose so much damage, and you really become a burden to the team. So, we'll get into the weapons, but that's why we're seeing a different weapon there. Now, Praxic Vestment, so very interesting exotic. Now, it gives us the ability for the Titan to basically fly around, a thunder crash without damage, really. But here we can see Praxic Lift. You can gain an air move, Jetpack, weapon and arc-powered melee final blows build up Jetpack fuel. Now, with the powered melee that we're using today, once we get 3 or 4 kills with it in, a very quick instance, we'll get the Jetpack fuel ready to go again. So there's a lot of synergy here. But as you can see, it says here double press, but I have to hold the button. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but you charge your jetpack up, you release it, you activate the jetpack, which sends out exhausting arc energy, so you'll reduce enemy output from where you leave by 25%. And then when you collide with a combatant, you'll blind them. So you blind them, plus the enemies around them in a diameter. I'm not entirely sure what that diameter is, but you also get a temporary boost to your melee stat, which I believe is plus 40. So someone might be able to correct me on that, but plus 40 is huge. It really alleviates any need to use a melee font, so you can actually get this benefit when you need it. It's not a constant thing, it's only when you need it, so really beneficial to have. We'll look at the subclass first, guys, so let's jump into that. Obviously going to be running Arc, Thunder Crash, want to do as much damage as possible, obviously going to run that. Alongside Rally Barricade, Strafe Lift, and the Ballistic Slam, as I said. Now, Ballistic Slam, you need to be sprinting and then jump, and then you can activate it. That's the only way it really works. If you're not sprinting and you jump in the air, it won't activate. So it's a little bit finicky. But with Praxic Vestment, even if you're walking and then you jet off with the ability, you'll still be able to activate Ballistic Slam either way. So very, very good to be able to do that. And when you land, you'll generate Bolt Charge based on the number of targets you hit, and Bolt Charge gives you melee energy back. So not only are you getting a full jetpack, you're getting a huge amount of melee energy back to do it all over again. Next one is going to be Flashbang Grenade. Now, this is purely for the blind. It's not for the blinding effect, I should mention there. The blinding effect. So it disorientates enemies. Basically, they won't fire their weapons for, I'm not sure what the time frame is, but it is a pretty generous amount of time. So in that time, you can throw it at your feet, blind your enemies, and then use the jetpack to fly out if you need to. So really good get out of jail card there. Aspects is going to be Knockout. Pretty self-explanatory, guys. Any arc-based melee build, you're going to be using Knockout. That's going to give us increased melee damage and range when you critically wound a target or break their shield. Storm's Keep. Now, you're probably wondering, if I'm going to be moving around, why am I using Storm's Keep? Storm's Keep, only because at the high level tier of activities, you're still going to need a barricade to stand behind, right? Because enemies are very aggressive, so it is quite easy to be killed. So, what better way to stand behind the barricade, get Bolt Charge, which will give you melee energy, and then when you set off using your Praxic Vestment, so you use your jetpack, you get that burst of exhausting energy, and then you land and you get that huge arc lightning pull at the end of it. So really working in tandem there. For the fragments, we're going to be running Spark of Resistance. So, if we don't, for whatever reason, defeat enemies when we land, we'll get a nice amount of damage resistance. I'm using Spark of Shock, which is going to give our grenade Jolt on top of stunning Unstoppable, so we can stun Overload and Unstoppable. You don't need to run this, I just like having the versatility, but that's what I'll be using. Spark of Discharge, Arc Weapon Final Blows have a chance to create not Ionic Trace, so Ionic Traces grant ability energy, and then collecting an Ionic Trace grants you a stack of Bolt Charge, which, as we saw, gives us melee energy. Last one is going to be Spark of Frequency, so melee hits increase your weapons reload speed and stability. And then, while amplified, these effects are increased and you gain increased stacks of bolt charge from all sources. So really working nicely there. There's not many builds I see that doesn't run this. So yeah, look, definitely a nice one to have. Let's look at the armor sets, guys. Now, we're using the 2-piece Smoke Jumper and the 2-piece Sword Master, so we'll jump out of there. So 2-piece Smoke Jumper, I pretty much run this on every build. It's just too good to have. Basically, you get a decaying damage reduction when you pick up an Orb of Power. It's very strong. But the 2-piece Sword Master is going to give us damaging a target with Sword Glaive or any melee attack will exhaust them. So not only do we exhaust enemies when you leave, but when you land, you get the Jetpack energy coming back, you get your melee energy coming back, and then you exhaust them as well. All right, so everything working very nicely together. In terms of mods, the helmet is the Kinetic Charge Siphon, which is part of the artifact. We'll jump in there, but rapid final blows for kinetic and arc weapons are going to create orbs of power. I did find with the energy weapon, I was sort of running out of energy every now and then. The special ammo finder did help out. You might want to run triple siphons, but I just found this one to be a little bit better. Arms is going to be heavy-handed, triple off, just so we get a nice big fat orb when we get a powered melee. Our resistances on our chest, I've just gone for the more common ones that we see in activities there. If you're finding that you're running out of ammo, just use the ammo generation mods as well, but I found that having the extra resistance here was really beneficial. Our legs is going to be a arc weapon surge. Now, probably not required, I just found that it gave us a little bit more damage output alongside 2 of invigoration. And the mark, time dilation, just so that weapon surge stays up a little bit longer into 2 of the outreach, reducing melee cooldown when you use a class ability. Now, in terms of last things here, we've got the artifact here, guys. So now we're very aware of the anti-champion mods. Like I said, we had the dual siphons here for arc and kinetic. We've got the gravitic voltaic charge, which gives us an extra armor charge. So that's why we're not using charged up on the chest. Our expert handling alongside elemental siphon. Third column is going to be press the advantage. So breaking combat shield grants increased weapon stability, handling, and reload speed. Very decent to have. And dielectric in the third column gives us huge amounts of bolt charge coming through there. And the armor swith as well, increasing our melee damage when we break a combatant shield. Now, I chose counter energy, well, purely for the fact that we're not running a sword, but counter energy, because in a lot of the higher tier activities, 500 plus, you'll be encountering a lot of champions a lot of the time. So why not? Why not use this? You'll gain energy for your least charge ability, and it's across your fire team as well, so it's not necessarily you that has to do the stunning. Our last column there, it's a bit sparse in terms of things that we can put on there. I've obviously gone for elemental orbs because we're running arc. It gives us another way to jolt overload champions. But yeah, look, we don't really need kinetic rupture. Yeah, look, it's not really needed. The other ones don't really apply, so that's why we've got that there. Let's have a look at the weapons, guys. We've got Gunburn here. This is a Festival of the Lost weapon. Now, I'm using Gunburn because I want the overload option, but it runs Pugilist as well. So Pugilist on final blows will give you 10% of your melee energy back. So very decent to have, alongside our attrition orbs. So again, just another way to generate orbs for our armor set and for our helmet mods. Now you can see here I'm running the opening salvo mod, which gives this weapon the ability to stun unstoppable champions, and that sort of ties into our next weapon, the Uncivil Discourse. So this weapon actually does it all. It is a anti-barrier hand cannon. It has jolting feedback, so I can jolt overload champions, and I've actually put opening salvo on this as well, so I can stop unstoppable champions. So this is a triple header, and it's really quite powerful. Having one weapon to cover all champion types, because that does have limited ammo, I don't want to just sort of put all my eggs in one basket. I want to sort of separate it, but that's the reason for that. Power weapon, because we've covered off so many champion types, I wanted a pure, basically, damage power weapon, and we've gone for Anarchy. Now, look, again, it's probably not in its, it's not in its limelight, it's not in its prime, but it still does really, really decent damage, and I've had a lot of fun with it in the past, and I'm still having fun with it now, I must say. So that's pretty much the build, guys. Look, I mean, this is everything I wanted from a mobile Titan. And the issue is that I've been playing this so much, when I try a different build, because I've lost all the mobility, it doesn't feel as fun. And this build is all about having fun. You still get quite a lot of use out of it. Like, it's still very competitive in terms of PvE and what it can output in damage. But yeah, like I said, the problem I'm having is that because I don't have this mobility on other builds, the other ones feel a little bit boring. So let me know what you think of it, guys. It is a really fun way to get around as a Titan. Yeah, look, go for it. I've always wanted to put a build together for this thing. I really like the concept of it, but I didn't really know how to work it. But I think this one works. There's probably prismatic builds out there too that you can run this with, but I haven't really sort of delved into that. Yeah, look, that's pretty much it. I'll leave you with it, guys. Look, if you did like it, leave us a like. Something you do differently, or if you enjoyed it, leave a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button too. All right, I'll leave you with it. 2026, guys, here we go. Hopefully Destiny 2 can go on the up and up. I really think Renegades was a step in the right direction. Hopefully we can see more of that over the year, but let's see what happens, guys. All right, for now, I'll see you in the next one.